Yeah, but it's not even so much of a who else thing for me. It's also like I'm the only one that I feel like actually deserves it, especially with us joining the UFC at the same time and being parallel in careers the entire time. Like she has one less loss than I do, and her wins over girls that I have lost to, she was struggling with both of those girls during the entire fight.
Yeah.
And I was dominating those girls up until I, made a tiny error that we were talking about earlier before. It's a game of inches. So
Hmm.
my tiny error cost me, but I was dominating. I was on my way to winning those fights. Whereas if
Yeah.
you look at her fighting them, she's struggling the entire time.
Yeah.
And like I said, I only have one less loss than she does in the UFC. Otherwise, our records are very similar, and nobody else in my division has a record like that besides her and myself. So it's not like well, who else? Well, I guess Juliana, because she's the only one left. It's like, no, actually Juliana makes perfect sense, and what she's saying is actually facts. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just trying to say very humbly, this is the fight that makes sense for me, and this is the only one that I care about. And especially her not having a fight right now, and me not having a fight right now, and her not defending her belt since 2019. For me, this is the only fight that I see and the only fight that makes sense.
Yeah, what's interesting is, so her one loss came against, was it Kat?
Yes.
And you beat Kat, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you like you said, you only have one less loss or one more loss than her. How frustrating is it in terms of, now you were preparing for Holly Holm, right? And that fight's not going to happen. So what's the mindset? Are you still training? Are you still prepping in case there is a fight or this fight does materialize?
I'm very frustrated, because I talked to the UFC brass and, everybody heard it. Dana said that's the fight to make. So one thing that we need to get straight here is Amanda is the boss. Amanda decides when she wants to fight. Amanda decides who she fights, and Amanda decides when she's ready to fight. And so I can talk to the UFC brass all day, but as long as Amanda doesn't want to fight, there's going to be no fight. So Dana said that that's the match to make. She agreed, but then she said that I needed to go get in the mix and fight Jermaine. And then she told the brass that she doesn't want to fight me because I haven't made myself a contender enough for her. And this is very frustrating for me. I'll get to the other point, but then I'll go back to me not making a contender for her. An article just came out 2 or 3 days ago about her addressing me and saying, yes, I do want to fight Juliana. And when that time happens, I envision my hand getting raised or whatever. Okay, well, you admitted that you want to fight me. And so why isn't that fight happening? Why isn't that materializing? Behind closed doors, what's being told to me is she's not going to fight me until I win one more to make myself a contender for her. But to the public, she's trying to say, oh, yeah, I'll fight her. And when that fight happens, I'll get my hand raised. It's like, you're lying, actually, and you shouldn't lie, because it's been very clear to me, not once, but twice, that you're not going to fight me until I make myself a contender. Now, talking about making myself a contender, Holly beat Megan Anderson. Felicia Spencer beat Megan Anderson. And then Megan Anderson fought 2 girls at 145, both of them unranked, both of them making their UFC debut. She got 2 wins, and now all of a sudden Amanda Nunez is obsessed with her because Megan Anderson is just this giant contender. And now she wants to fight Megan Anderson, even though, Holly already beat her and Felicia already beat her. Like, she's obsessed with Megan Anderson all of a sudden because she's just giant contender. Like, I am actually the real contender. You don't fight contenders, Amanda, because I am the contender. I know it. She knows it. They know it. Everybody knows it. But yet she's still saying, no, you haven't made yourself a contender for me. You got to fight one more and win one more. It's like, Holly, you fought Holly after she was 1-4. Was Holly a gigantic contender? After Megan got stomped by both of these girls, now all of a sudden she's a giant contender? Like, baby, you don't fight contenders. You do not fight contenders. I am the contender, and you want nothing to do with me in a fight. So whatever, to me, I'm like, she's lying. She's lying.
Is it style? Is it the style difference? Is that what you think it is? Like, in terms of stylistically, you guys are just at the opposite ends, or she's worried about what you present?
I believe that she knows that it's not going to be a walk in a park for her like all the other fights that she's had. She's fought strikers after strikers after strikers, girls that, want to strike with her, not somebody that wants to grapple and wrestle with her, because the last time that happened to her, she curled up in the fetal position and had the referees come and save her, So it's just a stylistic matchup. And for me, it just doesn't make sense to go fight some other striker or somebody else when I know that that's a better matchup for me personally.